Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Boy Say Boss. Parity is restored in this abyss of the week between Christmas and New Year because it is Friday night. I'm back in my normal territory, so you know what that means. It's time for that Friday feeling on the bus. And a good show we've got tonight because it is the last Friday feeling of the calendar year. So I thought tonight, and seeing as I'm used to doing a bit of time travelling on the Boise bus, why don't we have a wee look back at the calendar year of 2024, the highs and the lows? Not that there's been many lows, to be honest, a lot of highs to talk about. So we'll be doing that, as well as we'll be looking forward to the St Johnstone game at the weekend. And obviously, I had my say last night on PMP, but I'll be getting my guests chat on the events of the last 24 hours, because just when you thought you had it all sussed, you had all the answers, the questions changed again because the dynamic has shifted with what happened yesterday. So we'll get a wee blur on that one as well. But as you can see, usually it's me and just Liam on the Friday night, but no, we have got a third person on this evening. Connor, I'm going to ask how your Christmas is, but going by how raspy your voice is, I think you've had quite a wild Christmas by the sounds of it, mate. How you doing?
I'm alright. I'm doing my best Jason Statham impression here. I've actually been no well over Christmas for the first time in years. I've been no well, but fair to say that yesterday pure gave me a bit of medicine, made me feel a bit better, you know. So I'm feeling fine now. Just my voice is a bit. I hope people can hear me properly, but you know.
You got some water handy? As long as you've got some water, you should be okay.
I don't know if Pepsi Max counts, but we'll go with it.
Aye. No, fair dues, man, but good to have you on anyway, Connor. Welcome to the Friday Night Club. Welcome along. And speaking of Friday nights, of course, what would it be without myself and Liam being on? Canada's favourite Tim, the wise man of the bus. Oh, wise man, give us some knowledge. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. You know, I forgot this was going to be last Friday. I forgot this was the last one before Christmas. So I hope everybody out there had a great Christmas and, you know, you enjoyed yourself and saw some family and, you know, all the listeners, on both sides of the ponds, you know. Hope it was all good and can't wait to start the next year and talk about the last one.
Ah, indeed. Where does it all go? Where does it go? We're in that position again. Oh, God, 2025 just around the corner. But yeah, final Friday feeling of 2024. So yeah, we'll have a wee recap of some of the highs and the lows as the show goes on tonight. But before we do all that, of course, folks, you know what you can do. You can do all that good stuff that helps out the show massively. You can hit that like button, of course. It'll help us out massively. And YouTube loves an active channel. So any interactions is a good interaction. So that helps us get recommended to more people out there who like Celtic and like podcasts. The Boise Bus might happen to appear in their recommended videos. Of course, you can get involved in our comment section tonight. I'll definitely be looking for you guys to do that because we'll be looking for your top picks from the year as I go over all the different categories. So make sure you get involved. I'll get some of them up on the screen as well. If you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button. What are you doing? Why have you not done it yet? Come on, hit the subscribe button. Make that your New Year's resolution if you've not done it yet. Hit the subscribe for 2025 and get yourself on the bus that little bit longer. Hit that bell notification and you'll know when we're on the road. And you can also share the link of the Boise Bus far and wide on any social media platform that tickles your fancy. And of course, you can still go over to piesports.com and you can still use the code BUS1888 and you'll get 12.5% off your tasty pastry treats. And yes, all that said and done, let's get chatting, guys. Let's get that Friday feeling. I do suspect many people have got that Friday feeling after Thursday's events because, yes, it was quite a whopper of a day, a result that, well, I was going to say most didn't see coming, but before we even came on there, Liam actually said to me he had a wee feeling that they might come a cropper. But first and foremost, Connor, regarding us yesterday, I said on PMP last night to Terry, it was a game where we never really went up the gears, but then again, we didn't have to go up the gears. Motherwell didn't really provide any threat. We controlled the game. This first half was a bit slow and sluggish. We got the goal before half-time. Second half, we definitely went up. And, we end up getting 3 points without really breaking a sweat. 4 more goals. Can't really complain about that, Connor.
No, you definitely can't. It's a good way to top off the year. You know, there was... Granted, we didn't really have to try very, very hard, but there was, you know, people like myself and other people kind of getting a wee bit, not nervous, but noticing the patterns that we weren't exactly playing our best and we weren't, you know, putting teams to the sword like we probably should have been doing, and putting games to bed relatively easily, and we were making things a little bit harder for ourselves. Not that we were losing or anything like that, just that, we were just not really doing what we should have been doing, and maintaining the absolute dominance that we've seen over the last couple of months. But yeah, I think the fact that we put, what is it, 4 past Motherwell, they never had a sniff. Multiple players, who have been on good form this season, continue to show their good form. We were able to, rotate some players, give some players a rest, get some other players minutes in the legs. I think all of it was kind of just, a fair, good result. And there's not really much you can really dig in and dissect about it, to be totally honest. It's, the only thing that some people are going to have qualms about is the penalty, and even then, was it Dermot Gallagher and Sky Sports said that Stonewall penalty? So all the Rangers fans who usually like to see his gospel, listen to him again. You don't have much to say about that Stonewall yesterday. So, but yeah, good game, good goals, good performance all around, and good to get the lead to back at the top of the table.
Aye, I say that was a mad bonus last night because Liam, me and Terry were obviously on doing PMP live when it was coming in. When the goal went in for us, because I said before the game, I put in the live chat, keep us up to date with the score. As it turned out, Terry actually had the game on over his shoulder. So there was a few times last night when he's turning around and having a wee glance. But yeah, obviously it came up in the chat that it went 2-1 to St Mirren. I did not realise there was only minutes to go. I had no idea what the actual time on the clock was, so I was quite surprised. A matter of minutes later, people in the chat are saying that's full time. Because I thought when they went ahead, I went, there'll still be about 20 minutes to go. Still time for no doubt them to get some sort of bailout. But they didn't get it in the end. And what a funny old world we live in, Liam, this time last week. What was it? We were 11 points in front before the Dundee United game. Then suddenly it was 9 points. And here we are. We now find ourselves, we've extended our lead. So there you go. Funny old world, Liam.
Oh yeah, I've not checked my statements yet. Like that app that you use for the recurring Rangers daily statement. I mean, I watched the second half of that game. Looking to see St Mirren, what they were like as well, and how they played them. And yeah, I think we'll be putting in another statement, a protest. There was 2 boys that came on very, very late in the game who had very, very Fenian names. So very Fenian, like off the chart Fenian. So yeah, there might be a protest going on about that. You know what? I thought they were due it. I said to the guys when I was leaving the match here after ours, I was going to watch it. What would you watch that for? I says, just get a feeling they're going to drop points today. And you can just sort of see that with this team, that this is a fragile team, Rangers. And anyway, I think the best thing we can do right now is just forget about it. Forget about it like it didn't happen, and just look and build towards January as if we're the ones that lost points. That's the way I hope the club sees it. I'm enjoying it, celebrating it, but okay, I don't want it to do what it usually does before. Don't let it trigger complacency within this board. What do we say in the bus, man? You can't take your eyes off them. So yeah, I'm hoping that that was a good win yesterday. The Lennon Miller, I've not seen anything for him yet against us now that says to us that we should be, trying to snap him up at some point. I don't see many better than like a Thiago Home or anything like that, and still not seen enough of him either. But yeah, I think yesterday's what you expect for a home game at this time. And by the way, what was that? First time in 13, 15 years we've had a home game on Boxing Day. I always remember that, like people, it was always like Aberdeen and Ross County and stuff like that, and that must be a lot of not just the travel, but all the emotional stuff that players must get, leaving their families and all that to go and play football, And so I think, a 4-0 win at home, Boxing Day. Yeah, that's exactly what I expect for this team. And yeah, I thought they had great goals, great game.
Well, the way I just look at it is, I know I said the last night on PMP, there's still going to be a collection of fans that you just can't please. I still saw them on Twitter wanting to whinge about the first half performance, and I don't get it personally. To me, the way I look at it is, we didn't even have to go up the gears, and we still won 4-0, which suggests to me that there are still gears to go up. Terry said it last night. Are we saving a big performance for something just around the corner? I wonder what it could be. I wonder what we could be holding ourselves back for. We've definitely got it in us. We've shown it. And as I said last night, Brendan Rodgers thrives when this particular fixture comes rolling around. And yeah, we'll see come Thursday. But of course, before that, we've also got the St Johnstone game. We'll talk about that later on. So we need to get the points on the board first and foremost there. But as I said earlier on, we will, the crux of tonight's show is a look back at the year that is 2024, the calendar year, because what a year it has been. One domestic loss all year, and fingers crossed that doesn't change on Sunday. I'm quite confident it won't, but hopefully I've not cussed it. One loss in Europe. Oh, what a loss it was. A bit of a doing, to be fair, but overall we're motoring along not bad in Europe in the Champions League, considering how we've done in recent years. And at the moment, we currently have all 3 domestic major trophies in Scotland, all in the cabinet at Celtic Park. So it's been a rather good 12 months, to say the least. So yeah, the idea is I've got, as a show tonight, you'll notice the title is called the 12 Points of Christmas. Obviously, that little gift that we got yesterday, 12 days of Christmas, 12 points of Christmas. I thought I've got 12 categories, folks, that we're going to go over. Myself, Connor and Liam, of the highs and lows of the year. So yes, do make sure you get involved in the comments tonight. Drop in your picks as well, and I'll bring some up on the screen. So we'll start with a quite obvious one of the big ones. We'll just go for our player of the year. Who's been the best and most consistent player over the 12 months from January until December? And my pick for it is Daisen Maeda. I had to go for Daisen Maeda on this one because when Brendan Rodgers first came back, a lot of questions were asked about particularly the East Asian players, the Japanese ones, the Korean players, because we had a massive collection of them. Under Ange, most people thought, these guys won't work under Brendan. You know, there's all this idea about a type of player for a type of manager. And most people say, they're Ange Postecoglou players. There has been some ups and downs, I think, in particular with Kyogo and Hatate, although Hatate showed yesterday when he came on, he's just proved again he's still got that class when he's on. It's a bit of inconsistency there. Kyogo, his goal scoring's not been as good as it was under Ange, but the threat is always still there. He's shown it this season where he could just pop up with a goal out of nowhere, like against Rangers early in the season, where he passed it into the net from about 30 yards out. But Daisen Maeda, a guy that I don't know if many people would have said, will he work with Brendan at all? Will he click? For me, he's now like one of the most valuable players in the team. And when you think when he first arrived, and I mean, he still has elements of it as well. He still has that, he can trip over the ball 1 minute and then the next minute get up and stick the ball in the top corner. He still has that madness to him, that unpredictability that comes with Daisen Maeda, which is one of the reasons why I think we love him. But for me, I think he's been consistently our best player over the calendar year. So that's my choice on that one. So Connor or Liam, do you want to go first and he's got an idea what you want to go with, or do you want me? Right, Liam?
I'll go with mine. You know, I totally agree with everything you say there about Daisen, right? But are we doing just the first half of the season or the calendar year?
Calendar year from January to December.
Joe Hart.
Joe Hart. Okay, yeah,
Joe Hart's
right.
my player of the season because when we were finding ways to sort of give the ball away in that, towards that spell we were having around about March, he found ways to keep us in the game. He found ways to save us. And then I think that whole emotional stuff about Joe Hart retiring at Celtic and going away, I think that was one of these sort of, like Hollywood stories where you've now got the team gelling together because they want to send their mate off in the best possible way. And then I think when you see the reciprocation of the fans, when that banner went up, I mean, who thought Joe Hart's most iconic photograph would be him walking on the pitch in front of the Green Brigade with a green flare? You know, that to me is the picture. It sums up Joe Hart's career now. No Man City, no any of the other clubs he played with. It's that picture there. And I think, you can tell, and it's proven, he was sitting there with the fans last week. Mm-hmm. That's the man that's embraced Celtic and took it to his heart, no pun intended, right? So Joe Hart's my man of the season. I enjoyed it, and I was thankful to play for the club, and I'm great to see he's still a fan. You know what I mean? It means, yeah, this guy got it.
That's a great choice, actually. That's one I wasn't expecting to see. But yes, it's a whole calendar year, January through to December. A few people in the chat with James McCarthy shouts, come on, play serious, guys, come on. But Connor, what about yourself from January through to December 2024? Who's been your player of the calendar year?
I'm going to agree with you, mate. I'm going to go with Daizen Maeda. I think he's been so, and it's quite funny. These aren't usually, as you know, usually a word you would associate with Daizen, but he's been incredibly consistent since Rodgers stepped in, and kind of took him under his wing. Essentially, he's improved massively under Rodgers. It's quite incredible. Actually, we all thought what's Kyogo going to be like under a miss attack? Going to be like? None of us thought to think, I wonder what Dyson will be like, because we all thought that Dyson was Angie's guy. I worked with him at Yokohama, and then he's the fast, he's the presser, he's the guy that goes go. That was what Angie's football was all about, and we thought that he couldn't get any better, but he's picked up sticks, and he's absolutely just give hell for leather to the league. And I know that people are having the conversations that Nicholas Kuhn could potentially win Player of the Year this year. I'm telling you, Daizen Maeda might not be far behind with how he's been performing. He scored that goal in the cup final. He scored the winning penalty. He's still scoring goals, contributing. He scores yesterday, and then immediately off the back of that, he's back up the other end of the pitch, defending. That's worth a hell of a lot more than I think any flair player or something. I love Kuhn, and I think he's been brilliant, but that's worth a hell of a lot more in terms of the team than what Kuhn's going to bring. If we don't have Daizen Maeda in that side, in the side last season, and the side this season, I think we lose so much in terms of our identity and in terms of the way that we like to play. He's the kind of player where if he's having a bad game, I think it affects the rest of the team. I think he's that important. I think if he's having an off day, it can affect him. Kind of similar to not in the same vein, but Callum McGregor. If he's having a really off game, it affects everybody about him. Daizen Maeda is such an important part, a vital cog in the machine that Brendan Rodgers has created, that he has to be up the guy for me for the calendar year that he's had. Honourable mention as well to James Forrest. I know it wasn't the whole year, but that later on period last season as well, he really went, right, I'm an elder statesman at the club. I'm a boyhood, fan. I've got to, when the going's getting tough now, I've got to stand up and be counted for. And he fucking did that. And he showed our little younger boys, by the way, this is what you need to do. He's in his 30s now, and he showed he's still got it. He's still got it. Also, Arthur Johnstone as well. Canada. The man from Canada, my beloved lumberjack. I love him to bits. He as well, absolutely sensational last season and this season as well. Took a wee dip in the last couple of weeks, but I think just he never ever really lets you down. Yeah. You get consistency, and you get a decent level, and even if every single time you play him, that's why when you talk about Liam's favourite player, Greg Taylor, the drop off between Johnston and Taylor is so obvious that it almost makes Taylor's deficiencies seem worse than what they actually potentially are. Because I think the last couple of games Taylor's actually been okay. He's been not bad, but when Johnston, and that's more probably because Johnson hasn't been playing, and we're not seeing, the yin and yang, the dichotomy of how good Alistair Johnson is to how not so good Greg Taylor is. But yeah, I think my player for the calendar year is Daizen Maeda, with honourable mentions being James Forrest and Alistair Johnson.
Well, a few Daizen Maeda shouts coming in there as well. A few for AJ as well. Callum McGregor getting a shout. A good one as well from Steve was saying about Liam Scales. There's a Maeda one as well. Maeda's quite a unanimous one, but there's no right or wrong answers really, to be honest. Say it's all subjective rather than objective. So yeah, Green Tiddle's coming in with the klaxon already. I'm sure that the name that goes with that klaxon will come up at some point in this as well. So let's move on then from our player of the year. So this again is there's two very similar ones coming up here, so I'll put them together. So it's your goal of the year, one on a personal level and one because it was a brilliant goal. So pick two. So for me, my favourite goal on a personal level, without a doubt, because I was there in the stadium and it was absolute carnage and bedlam in the stands when Adam Ida scored the goal in the Scottish Cup final. It was an absolute moment in time. One of those where I felt like time stopped in front of me because I could see it. I talked yesterday on the PMP about when Yang looked like he fouled that world play with the future flashes in front of your eyes. And of course, in that cup final, there's another of those future flashes in front of my eyes and everything went in slow motion. Where Bernardo obviously runs up the park, he breaks by, I think he leaves Raskin in the dust, breaks through, he's got it's opening up in front of him. He has a shot, Butland fumbles it. And of course, where I am in the stadium, you just see Ida just standing there waiting for it. And it was like this moment where everything just stopped for a second. And then just this unbelievable release of noise and just absolute carnage in the stands. Limbs, as we would say, absolute madness. So for me, as a personal level, my goal of the year would be Ida's one. But my favourite goal from an actual being a spectacle standpoint, an actual good goal, is the Callum McGregor one against Rangers this season. Because again, where I sit in the stadium, the bend on that ball to find that top corner as he cut inside. And McGregor, obviously, this season has been firing them in from outside the area, which is great to see. It's something that, we've needed them to step up and do. Or we just need midfielders in general to step up and shoot more from outside the area. But the one against Rangers this season, the 3-0 victory back in September, absolutely loved that. I see the bend on it as soon as it left his foot, and you can just see the path of the ball where I've sitting 139. I'm just about level with the crossbar, and you just see it flying in that postage stamp. It was just what a goal, and it was against them as well. So I mean, that's always an extra bonus point for that one. But Liam, what about yourself? Favorite goal on a personal level and favorite goal just because it was an absolute banger of a goal. What you got?
I have to go with the Ida one for a personal level, just because, anytime you get to watch it in the supporters club full with people from all over the place, people from Scotland, people with family over, those are great days, and everybody stays a wee bit longer and we all talk and connect. And so personal level, that made all that possible. Everybody wanted to watch the players on the park and they wanted to see. Everybody's looking for people in the stands. We watch it on a big screen. It's amazing how many people see friends and family and stuff in the stands, and what a big thing that is for them. So that's my personal one. Best goal of the season. Oh my God, what a beauty! Kyogo against Butland, and you mentioned it early. 35 yards. 35 yards, and you just see him, and you're just looking. He's not going for that, is he? No, is he going for that? He lasered it. He was like a snooker player, the way that ball just went into that corner pocket. And then when you listen to him after he had an interview where they asked him, and they asked him to explain the goal, and he went, I see goal, big, shoot. And then he's like, happy, score. And that was his interview, and they're just like, oh my God, that goal brought me joy, man. It was good and the right timing as well, but what a goal. I love shit like that.
Yeah, it was good. I'd say it was the audacity to literally pass it into the net from about 30 yards out. Again, you're just like, he's still got, because at that point he was going for a bit of a goal drought. And then he goes and does that by literally passing the ball into the net from an obscene distance where you're like, he has no right to go for that. Fair play. It was a great, great moment. Connor, what about yourself? Your favourite goal personally and your favourite goal just because it was an absolute banger there goal?
My favourite goal, probably, I think, he's Adam Ida one, just because of what, it meant, and because of the jubilation, and, it's great hammering them, right? It's great hammering them 5, 6, 7, they'll make it an absolute embarrassment. But there is nothing sweeter than snatching it away from them at the final minute. And we've seen that twice now in 2 cup finals recently, with there being penalties in the last one, being, a goal in the final minute to win it by Adam Ida in the Scottish Cup final last season. Also, the fact I was on holiday at the time, I was out in bars drinking and that, and just having a good time away. So, that added to the atmosphere as well. And I think my other favourite goal is I'm going to get to Dyson for his goal the other week against Rangers in the cup final.
Yeah.
You know that I just think the fact that he just does what he does. He nicks the ball off who was it? What's his name?
Raskin headed it back, and then it was Balogun.
Nicks it off Balogun, takes it down with a brilliant deft touch, and then has a brilliant finish slide at the back of the net. Doing exactly what I said, you know, as to why that, you know, Brennan's improved him so much. He's got that composure now. Last season, the season before, maybe even under Angie's last season, he would have probably put that out of the net or put it wide. And, you know, we're seeing it now when he's getting assists as well, when he's driving to the byline, he's cutting in as well, and then passing in, you know, putting it in the box instead of, you know, just blasting it, you know, up into Rosette. He still does that from time to time, you know, we'll see him do it. But he's definitely, you can see he's a different player. I don't know if you know, his football brain's developing, and that's made hair on the top of his head grow as well. You know, I mean, something or whatever he's taking for it, he can recommend me some. But yeah, I just think that it was just such a brilliant way, and it just capped off the fact that we may seem down at times. We may seem like, you know, things aren't going to go our way, and they think they're going to, you know, take one over us. But we're never going to lie down. We're never going to give up. We're always going to keep continuing to fight, continuing to show why we are the team, you know, in the country to beat. And we're the team in the country to look up to. And we always have been, let's be totally honest. And we always continue to will be now, because we are now the most successful team in the country and in the world. And I'm going to keep hammering it home, because they bastards hammered it home for fucking since 19 canteen, even though it wasn't fucking true. It's just a totally made up, fabricated bullshit statistic that they made up. But now we can use the same bullshit made up statistic because they set the rules. So now it's on us. So we are the most successful, the best, the biggest, most successful team in the world and in the country. So that's why the Dyson's goal, you know, is the favourite for me, because that got us back on track, which led us getting towards that victory and got us, you know, in the element to, you know, get that win over the line.
Aye. Well, to say, don't look at us, Rangers. You guys made these rules. That makes you the most successful club. So acknowledge us as the most successful club. See, they made the rules. But yeah, in the chat as well, a lot of Maeda shouts. In fact, that one did come up out the goal. Steve also saying about the goal against Bruges. That's right. That was a cracking goal. I won't bring one up because there's one that is going to play into an answer I've got later. A few shouts for this one. Lundstrom's own goal. Yeah, true, actually. Yeah, I have got a category come up for the funniest moment. Maybe that'll feature in there. That was quite a hilarious moment, let's be honest. But yeah, a lot of Dyson Maeda shouts in there as well. A lot of people talk about the importance. People bring up things like Ida in the final. As I said, Ida's penalty at Easter Road. Remember that one? Remember those 2 weeks in a row where we won with last-minute goals at Motherwell and at Easter Road while we were just clinging on there in the title race? So it's like big moments like that. But yeah, a few good shouts there. So we move on now to the game of the year, like the your favourite match out of the calendar year. And right away, my first thought was, well, you've got to look at, you know, the cup final recently, because it was 3 each, and it was obviously a bit of a barn burner. But then it's like, in reality, that first half in particular was not that good at all. The second half was absolute madness. Extra time was a non-event. Then, of course, it went to penalties. So when I thought about it, I was like, nah, I'm not going to give it to that one. As much as it's a high-scoring game and we got a trophy at the end of it, but no, my game of the year is the recent victory over RB Leipzig in the Champions League. What a complete performance that was. And again, given where we've been in European football in recent years, it was a huge result. And I know there's detractors out there that are saying things like, but Leipzig, you know, 0 points after, 6 games. But have you seen their fixture list? Did you see what they got? We're the only team that's beat them by more than a goal. Every game that they've lost by the odd goal. They've lost to Inter, they've lost to Liverpool. They've had some of the hardest fixtures you could ask for. I mean, our fixture list was very generous in comparison. But hey, I thought the supercomputer. Peter Lowell must be controlling the supercomputer. I'm sure some fans out there of other clubs will tell us that. But anyway, no problem. But that night against Leipzig,
gain us patterns of sustained assistance now as well.
That's it. UEFA are indeed patterns of assistance for the fixture list. But the Leipzig game for me was an absolutely complete performance. Loved it. Atmosphere was phenomenal on the night. It was just the perfect storm essentially. It was an absolute pleasure to watch it that night, and it's just been a little bit frustrating since then, where it's like we've been so close to just getting over this line that we need to. But I'm confident we'll do it against the young boys of Bern in January. But Liam, what about you? Your match of the year, game of the year? What are you thinking on that one?
I'm the same. We've beat them so many times in so many big games and all that. For me, we were going to judge our success this year on how we did in Europe, and that was the first glimmer of hope that I seen for a Rodgers team. That wow, there's a progression being made. So for me, seeing the development and evolution of the squad into a game like that, where, and again, like I just say, very rarely do I get to watch a game with a beer, as a take a header out, into the deep end or something. But so it's nice watching a European game in the afternoon and us actually winning. So you stay and you have a couple of pints and all that, and it was good. I thought, it was just a brilliant performance. So I agree with that one, Phil.
Aye, fair dues, man. And Conor, about yourself, what are you thinking for your game of the year over the last 12 months?
I would say the Leipzig one, but I never got to see the first half of the Leipzig one because I was working. So I got in like halfway through the first half. So, all in all, it was a brilliant game. But my favourite, I think, was beating Aberdeen 6-0 in the semi-final.
Yeah.
I think putting the fucking sheep lovers in their place was like really sweet. I'd say that was arguably sweeter than the victories we've had to Rangers this season, because Aberdeen, and they're not so fucking mouthy anymore, but we're getting really, really happy at the start of the season because they were getting good results. Rangers happened to be fucking dreadful, still are dreadful, obviously, but were really, really poor. And Aberdeen had the new manager bounce, and we're getting good results, arguably really good results, maintaining or keeping up with our unbeaten record at the start of the season. And then they come to play, they get that draw with us at Celtic Park, and they're like, "Oh, this is it, this is our year. We're going to challenge Celtic for the league, and can you see us coming? Oh, the Red Army's coming." And then we go and play them, at Hampden, and we just absolutely fucking slaughter them. We diced them up like fresh mutton, and we just absolutely annihilated them. And I loved it. I loved shutting them up, man, because their fucking fans are annoying on the accent alone. But when they're getting it big licks about how they're a big club and they're going to do a bits in the league, and it's like, just fucking pipe down you and know your place, right? Seriously, it's bad enough getting it for Rangers. You know how fucking shit they are. When you start piping up, that's worse. So just calm down, right? Before he takes you at the back and series again. But it was very, very. I can't even remember who scored in that game.
Maeda got a hat trick, didn't he? Dizan again, the player of the year.
I'm telling you, fucking put your money on player of the year for him.
Carl Vickers scored a corner. Nicholas Kyogo scored one where he hit off the crossbar, and then Maeda got a hat trick, and Nicholas Kuhn scored a brilliant goal. Bent his left foot.
So I really, really did enjoy that performance. It was very, very good, and it gave us a lot of hope because there were, after that draw with Aberdeen, there were a couple of doubts. We're like, how is things going to pan out this season? And then we went and played them, and we just, put any doubts about them and about where they might, run us close in terms of the league and stuff, and that put it completely to bed. And I think that was the game where we all looked at each other and we looked at Celtic and we're like, we're a different animal this season. There's something different. Something's changed. There's something in the air with Celtic. And we're going to do, bits this year. Just domestically, but in terms of Europe as well. Because they were coupling with each other. Because, it was, they were getting played on at the same time. So I think that, and, the kind of the mood, the feel that it gave everybody as well, that for me, that's my favourite game.
Nice one. It's a few people have said that in the chat. P. Sweeney's added in as well. The Dons never really recovered because look how they have completely crumbled since then. I mean, it's like they've had like 1 or 2 wins since that game compared to before that. They were obviously matching us result for result, but it is quite funny to see their fans suddenly back down and be like, "Oh, we never really thought we were going to win the league anyway." I don't know about that. I think they genuinely believed for a wee while there, but back in your place. But off you go, off you pop. But yeah, a few shouts for that one as well. Oh man. Let's see. I thought it was Falkirk game. That Falkirk game was actually wild. Remember that one? I saw Falkirk getting mentioned there, and I remember that mad 5-2 game. That was nuts. That match.
I was at that game, man. That was the first time my dad's been at a game in years. And what was it? We were 2-1, 2-0 down.
1-0 and 2-1 down. Aye.
And then I looked at him. I'm like, "You're a bad luck." I was like, "Get out now, leave the stadium," because I'm dead superstitious. Me, like, I looked at him. I was like, "This is your fucking fault, by the way. You come in here for the first time in years. We're getting beat off of Falkirk."
There was a wee moment there. It was a bit ropey, but we recovered it. But it ended up being a mad game in the end. A shout as well from Graham Talbot at Atlanta away. Again, a big result. Not exactly a thrilling game in the end because it was 0-0. You look at the score, but in terms of the context, a massive, massive result for us. And was definitely helped us turn it around in Europe this season. We're looking a lot more sturdier than what we have in the past. But moving on to the next category then. Funniest moment of the year. What one made you chuckle the most? And I'm coming back to that guy again because he's always there for a bit of fun when it comes to Celtic, and it involves Dyson Maeda. And it's his goal at Ibrox in the 3-3 game where Tavernier does not know what side Dyson Maeda's on. He looks over one shoulder, he looks over the other as he's chasing that ball down. He takes a gamble, hooks it away to his left-hand side. Wrong answer, Tavernier. Dyson Maeda standing right there. It bounces off his shin and zips past Jack Butland for 20 yards out. Oh, how I laughed. Only, 20 seconds into the game as well? Fantastic. Vintage Dyson Maeda. A goal he probably didn't even mean, and he scored it. Just classic. So, and plus, I always like seeing Tavernier with that wide-eyed, deer in the headlights look because he's been absolutely scared rigid by Dyson Maeda. So for me, the funniest moment of the year, I would put it down to that goal just because, again, just vintage Dyson Maeda. Just comedy comes with that guy as well. He's an all-round package, Liam, for entertainment. What can he not do? Liam, what about you? What made you chuckle this year?
So I can't disagree with you, but it's just for a different reason as well. I love the fact that, somebody put out a meme that something that Dyson Maeda has had more haircuts in the SPFL than Tavernier has trophies. And I think that was quite funny. And I love the fact that this year he decided to go for Baldy. He went through, we got to see him grow back his hair in real time. It was having a Celtic chia pet. I mean, how did they market the Dyson Maeda chia pet where you can grow hair, colour it and stuff like that? Well, hold that place. It's still Christmas. Peter, if you're listening, I want my usual 67%. So yeah. I stand for me. I think the guy's brilliant. We talk about who's going to be cult heroes and all that. Dyson Maeda, I mean.
He can be a hero as well if he wants to be.
Following the steps of another Celtic hero, Scott Brown, a man who chose to be bald in his playing days, and he can all of a sudden miraculously grow hair.
You chose to be bald, Connor?
Fuck me. Mate, if it was up to me, I'd have hair like yours.
There's no choice. I can't help it. I tried to go bald. Didn't work for me.
So, Connor, I'm going to take a guess that your funniest moment probably involves something that they across the city have done. To be fair, me and Liam's involves them in some capacity. But I get a funny feeling Statement FC might have done something that might have made you chuckle this year. What could it possibly be? Go for it.
I'm going to surprise you. It's linked to them. Okay. It's linked to them, but it's not directly from them. Do you remember the absolute wobbler? Not that you've got that many to count. You'll be like, which one is it? That they have every single year after every single time they're defeated by us. The Arthur Johnstone handball.
Yeah, that's right. The original VAR thing, yeah.
But it was offside, so it wouldn't have counted. But after it, Clement, the fans, Chris Boyd, the papers were all in a big tizzy about wanting, it's a penalty. Why don't I get a penalty? And then a week later, Brendan Rodgers has a press conference and says that VAR's doing its correct job and it can't be a penalty even if it's offside, as we know. He says that as we know, and he looks at the camera. He almost looks directly at the camera, as he's saying, "I'm taking the fucking piss out of you." Honestly, I was wetting myself at that. That was one of the funniest moments to me. And just the fact that he's got them on toast, man. Absolutely, Brendan's got them on absolute toast. Knowing just in terms of tactics about on the field and about playing them as an actual, team against team, he's got them on toast when it comes into talking about, the way the game is played and about how to play mind games and about all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? So, so for the calendar year, that's my funniest moment, to be totally honest.
And for us, that was right at the start of the year, so we started it right away, because that game was right before New Year, then it just dragged into the start of the month of January. It was just a headline, a bit similar to what we've seen in recent weeks after that cup final, and obviously the last few days. The fallout for these games and these incidents, it just drags and drags and drags. So yeah, we did actually start 2024 with that being all the news headlines about the VAR, and we've released the audio and stuff like that. Oh, God almighty. But yeah, I remember Brendan.
You could just sum up their entire meltdown for last year right up until now as probably one of the funniest moments, because it's just, we've got repeated patterns. The assistants, apparently, they've got repeated patterns of fucking bitching and more than every other week, because they just continue to do it week in, week out. And it's genuinely, it's funny, but it's, it's pathetic as well, really, when you're looking at it. And it, I think it brings your game into disrepute today. And I know I'm kicking a wounded animal here, and I don't really give a fuck. But, it's just, they're just absolutely a pathetic excuse for a football club. They've got a pathetic excuse for a manager. Their fans are fucking arseholes today. I fucking hate them with every fibre of my being. I know it's time for love and peace and Christmas and all that, but fuck me, cunts, I hate them.
There you go. Two-footed as always. We love it. But yeah, a few interesting shouts here. Oh man, Graham Tyrrell, the fan abusing Tavernier after the game. Where's the captain? That's a good one. That's a great one, actually. I forgot about that one. I'm sure James Tavernier would like to forget about that one. Kenny Miller's meltdown after Lundstrom's red card. Jesus Christ, again. The Chris Sutton screen grabs that have came through that are fantastic. They're pure meme material, man. I love using them as quote tweet replies to Rangers fans. Been using them in the last few days, in fact. What else have we got coming in here? A lot of mentions of just Clement press conferences, everything. Yeah, they are the funniest moments. In terms of what we've done, I don't think it's very funny that we've done this year. It's all been connected to them in some way, though we have caused them to become the comedy capers that they are from just the meltdowns that we give them every time. But yeah, we'll move on to the next one then. So after funniest moment, after getting a bit of a chuckle there, we'll go for the biggest disappointment of the year. And my one's an easy one, because there has been many disappointments, but it is the absolute pasting we took off Borussia Dortmund. And again, I think Dortmund since then, did they not lose their very next game to Red Bull Leipzig after they absolutely tanked us, who, funny enough, we beat with great ease in the Champions League. Weird how all that works out. But since then, their results have kind of been, they're not really, challenging for the title in Germany. I'm not saying that Dortmund are a bad team, but you just look at, had we lost that game narrowly and gave a half-decent fight of it, we'd go, fair enough. But the way we absolutely capitulated, man, was just insane. But again, it's been something that we've seen with Celtic in Europe in recent years. But the plus side from it, because there is a silver lining in this, Liam, is we've definitely bucked up our ideas, whatever it is after that game, Brendan Rodgers, despite being quite bullish in recent times, because he's been in charge when we lost to Barcelona 7-0, Paris Saint-Germain 7-1, Atletico Madrid 6-0, and he got the same questions that, Ange Postecoglou is getting right now at Tottenham, and even when he was our manager in Europe. You need to change your ways, and Brendan was still quite bullish, but for whatever reason, that Dortmund game seemed to be the final straw, and Brendan Rodgers has now become a bit more pragmatic in Europe, and it's starting to show. But on the night, it was just like, I was just numb watching it. I actually watched the entire thing, and most people couldn't even watch the full 90 minutes, but I just sat there. I wasn't even angry or anything. I was just like, here we go again. So for me, it is the doom we took off Borussia Dortmund. But I say the caveat to that is there is a plus to it. It seems like it's actually caused us to pull our finger out a bit in Europe and actually buck up our ideas. So there is a plus there. But Liam, what about your biggest disappointment of the year? Anything coming to mind?
All right, so put the klaxon away. It's not who you think it is. Adam Ida.
Okay, shout. Okay, yep.
Because I think disappointment comes with expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And my expectation of what we were getting for Armida and the amount of money that we spent for him, that this was a no-brainer. And, you know, you say, oh, he's not really had a pre-season. He'd half a season was the year before, and he had a full pre-season with Norwich before he came to us, because we were monitoring him and his progress and all that. And I just think he's really failed to grab any sort of opportunity in that. And, you know, it's funny, I watched an interview him with Celtic TV, and he seems like he's laid back. I mean, I live in Vancouver, the most laid back capital in the world here. I mean, well, that's prescription. But Adamida would fit right in. You know, he just doesn't seem to have a lot of spark and desire. And I don't know, he just seems... The best times I've seen him play is when he gets angry. See, when somebody has a kick at him or something. Yeah. That was happening a few times last year. And then he sparks up. And some players you play with and play against and that, and when you get them angry, you get a different player out of them. And some players, you know, I think like Roy Keane, you have to play a wee bit angry in your game to get anything from you, to push yourself. I don't think he has that right now. And yeah, so my expectations were big, so I'm disappointed with him this year. I think he really needs to pull the finger out and show us what we spent money for. Because right now he's looking very much like a player we bought from Norwich. And that was always, for me, the most least attractive club in English football.
The Yo-Yo Club, yep.
In Norwich or something like that. But I just felt like, boring, you know.
Yeah. No, that's a fair shout. I say there's no right or wrong answers. It's how you interpret it, and that makes perfect sense. Expectations were very high after the loan spell Adamida had, and up to now, you know, he's had flashes where it's been, you know, he's has some great moments so far, but then there's other times where it looks like he can't trap a bag of cement. So yeah, I can understand why you would suggest that one. But Connor, your biggest disappointment of the calendar year?
I mean, I know you're telling Liam to put his collections away, but you better get it back out, because yeah, my disappointment is still going on, and it's the fact that I have to look in the team sheet every single week and see Greg Taylor in it. And I know that sounds quite personal and quite, you know, two-footed as I usually do, but
it's nothing out of the ordinary for this show.
I just can't. I can't stand to see him starting anymore. I can't do it. I know he's been all right in the past couple of games, but I don't know. We've got potential there, and Vi, I see it. I can see it with my two eyes that he can do what Greg Taylor can do, and arguably do it better. Yeah, he doesn't get the game time. He doesn't get starts. He could have easily started against Motherwell. Could have easily started, you know, and got more minutes previously in previous games. And it's just fucking grinds my gears. It chafes my nips. It just annoys me to no end that I have to see Greg Taylor on that team sheet every single week, week in, week out. The fact that we've known for years, bar one flash in the pan season under Ange, that he's not good enough. We've known it since he walked in the door. We're still persisted with it, because he's been the best out of a bad bunch with fucking bowling goalies and Diego Laxels and John Joe Kenny's, and the bad fucking players we've had in those positions has been something else. But that does not mean to say that he deserves to be in there and deserves to be, you know, part of that team. And I don't care that he got a scrappy goal against Rangers in the cup final. If we had a better left back, we probably wouldn't have conceded the first fucking goal and could have potentially won the game by a more comfortable margin. Because, you know, and I don't care that, you know, he's a bit of a nippy fella and he likes to, you know, wind him up, and then he's a bit of cheeky chappy. We can find that in a bargain basement in any Scottish club or any club down the lower leagues in England, anywhere we go. We'll probably get a better player at the bargain, to be totally honest. Let's know, his highest ceiling before he came to us was Kilmarnock. Granted, it was Steve Clark's Kilmarnock who were actually all right, but it was still Kilmarnock playing on a plastic pitch every day, sitting deep, defending the entire time. Nobody require. Do you know what I mean? And I haven't, and it seems super personal. It seems like I'm going in on him. It's really not. I just want what's best for my football club. I want us to develop to progress, to move on to the next, the phase of what we're trying to become. Continuous progression.
Yeah.
Maintaining, sticking by Greg Taylor when he's also taking a piss with fucking no signing a new contract. So if he's not signing a new contract, there's no playing ball. Why continue to play him?
Mm. Yep.
That's my biggest disappointment for me, and it's still ongoing. And until Kieran Tierney comes in January, it's going to continue to be that.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
I was about to say that. I was saying, don't worry, Connor. We're about to replace our Kieran Tierney replacement is going to be Kieran Tierney after all these years.
Honestly,
if you believe what's being said.
Kieran Tierney could walk into that Celtic pitch with both his fucking legs amputated, and he'd put in a better shift than Greg Taylor. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see that. I still think Taylor, that he will be gone at the end of the season. Maybe even go in January. I don't know if Celtic will allow him to walk for nothing. This is the Celtic board, after all, we're talking about. But yeah, we will see what comes of that one. A few shouts in there as well for disappointments. Ida was mentioned a few times, actually.
Right.
Liam Engels was also mentioned as well. I still think it's a bit too early, Engels, but I understand why people are going that one. A few people agreeing on Greg Taylor as well and seeing it from your point of view. I just find it funny as well that it's not Liam that's going in 250 on Greg Taylor tonight. So, yeah.
Phil, I expect him to be shite every game.
So you have no expectation of disappointment? Fair dues, man. Okay, I get you.
So, cases are high. Like Taylor's in the team sheet, shite.
Jim C saying that Diogo's not been great this, so in my opinion, fair enough. I say he's not been as prolific as he was under Ange, but he's still got that. As Terry says, he's a killer. He's ruthless. He's got it in him. Charles Smith, the 3-3 win that Rangers got. That's right. Remember they celebrated that one and thought that felt disappointing at the time when they got that equaliser, but in the end, that point was better for us than it was for them, because in typical Rangers fashion, literally a week later they lost to Ross County, then drew with Dundee. But yeah, a few shouts there for most disappointing. So let's go on to I think this is going to be a unanimous one. I will be surprised if anybody says any different. The best new signing in 2024 is Nicholas Kuhn. He signed in January, and initially we were kind of like, don't know, but my word, has he came on to a game that shows don't judge a player too quickly on the Engels. But yeah, Nicholas Kuhn for me, it's unanimous. I say what a player he's turned into, and well scouted there, Celtic. Good work there from whoever put that one, that report on Brendan's desk. But yeah, for me, Nicholas Kuhn. Liam, yourself signing of the year.
Kasper Schmeichel.
Kasper, okay, fair shout. Yes, indeed. Yep.
When you talk about a ready-made signing, which is we've been crying out for ages, right? That's what you want to see coming into other positions in the park. Players that have got a bit of gravitas about them, right? A bit of an aura that when you sit in the change room and go, God, I just saw him in the telly in the European Championships, on a penalty shootout and stuff. And I always like to see that as a bit of box office in the dressing room. Somebody players can look up to that plays at the highest standard. And we've been very fortunate to have a number of those players come through Celtic in years. And I think Kasper Schmeichel, I really hope we're talking like that's our big signing as well. I hope maybe we extend his contract sooner.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. That's a good shout. There was me thinking Nicholas Kuhn, it's a slam dunk. Everyone's going to say that, but yeah, Kasper, fair shout, and loads of people in the chat are saying it as well. Connor, what about yourself? Best new signing over 2024, the January window and the summer window. Who are you going for?
I'm going to follow my man Liam there. I'm going to say Kasper Schmeichel. I think I don't think it's been stated enough how big a coup it was getting him in the door. He's still at a good age. Still incredibly good. He's still the Denmark number one. He's still the Danish international goalkeeper, who Denmark are a pretty good international side. They've got consistently good players, consistently getting to tournaments and do pretty well. Kasper Schmeichel coming in. This is a guy, right, who won the league with Leicester and was one goal away from getting the Golden Glove in the Premier League. That's a fucking insane guy to be having in the back line.
Yeah.
And, we had Joe Hart, who'd won the Premier League before, obviously. Was absolutely brilliant. We all love Joe. But Kasper Schmeichel, despite the fact that we all kind of had a wee bit of, I don't know, worries about his age. Kiboshed it first couple of weeks. Completely no worries at all. He looks like he could play for another 10 years. Genuinely. He looks brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's you know, and you see him, he fills out the jersey well. He's strong, you know. They might as well call him Castle the fucking Ghost because he's not going to do anything. I mean, it's crazy to stand there half the time, but when he is called upon, he pulls off these blinders, he saves, and the thing that we all love Joe Hart, but the one thing that you could criticise him on was his distribution, especially with the ball at his feet and at the back. Casper Schmeichel was so comfortable with the ball at his feet. He passes it like he's a midfielder. He's so good at passing the ball out. You know, he's got feet like Ronaldinho and arms like Babe Ruth. You know what I mean? The way he can throw the ball out. So I just think he's a class act. He's a class act in general. And you know, a lot of people don't remember, but Leicester won the league, and that was the game where he didn't win the Golden Glove because he conceded the goal. They still won the game and still won the league. Kasper Schmeichel was fuming. He was raging.
Yeah.
Leicester City had just won the league, and he was fuming that he never won the Golden Glove.
Winner's mentality.
That's a born winner. That is a man who's got the correct mentality, the correct attributes, and the correct attitude to be Celtic's number one goalkeeper. And I love it. We managed to get an upgrade on one of the guys who was one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League in Joe Hart, and we've got an upgrade on him.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Insane piece of business. Absolute masterstroke by Brendan Rodgers, by the way. That was the Desmond, that was the Peter Lawwell.
It was Brendan
Rodgers.
Yeah, definitely.
Brendan
that was
fucking
100%. Well, going by what Casper said recently on that podcast with Ben Foster, talking about how he signed, it was all instigated by Brendan contacting him and whatnot after the Euros and just telling him to just hold fire, just see his work. You know, obviously he'll try to get him up to Celtic, and yeah, he's obviously loving life up here. And I think we'll see another year out of Kasper Schmeichel. I think it's safe to say that one. Again, a lot of shouts for Kasper after that one. Say, what do I know? There's me sitting there going, Nicholas Kuhn. Obviously, it's Nicholas Kuhn. No, Kasper Schmeichel. Most people in the chat are saying that as well. And if there's another name that came up actually that ties into the next one, because I've got biggest surprise of the year, which could be anything that just, you know, with the context of it. But I've went for Luke McCown because I, like many, I remember we were doing a Tuesday ticket episode back in the summer. David was sourcing all the transfer rumours, and Luke McCown was one that came up a few times. And, you know, he asked me, what do you think, you know, about Luke McCown if we bring him in? It was just a sort of whatever, you know. I wasn't really just here nor there about it. I was just like, fair enough, man. I'm not a guy that I've watched that much. I don't know. I can't sit here and proclaim that I'm an expert on him. If he comes in, fair enough. But I didn't have any expectations for him at all. But my word, the boy has just went from strength to strength for me. He's just shown that he's not a lucky fan that just happened to find his way to Celtic. He is here to show that I'm good enough to play at this team. I'm going to show you all. And he's fantastic. He's a breath of fresh air, personality-wise, and when he's on the park, just he's got a lot of energy about him. He's an exciting player to watch, and for me, yeah, I'm quite happy to have the old egg on my face on that one because I was totally like, I'm really bothered if we say Luke McCown. If we get him, great. If we don't, whatever. I won't lose any sleep. But yeah, he's for me been my biggest surprise of the season so far. But Liam, what about yourself? Biggest surprise of the year?
I think this will be a surprise because it's our left back, you know, despite being pillared and punted and sent out on loan to the Wilds.
Yeah.
Has managed to make such an impression over there. That's in the team of the year. And he's now the most sought after left back in South American football at this moment. I'm shocked. I'm surprised.
I think we all are, to be fair.
That was our side. And so I'm surprised at the fact that, okay, you know, did we not give him enough time? Is it the climate? Is it, and it can't be physicality. Brazilian and Argentinian football is rough as fuck, you know. So I don't think it's that at all. He looks like a hardy wee, you know, wee barrio type gangster guy, you know, like like soft. So, you know, you wonder what it is. So I'm wondering, you know, with him coming back, John Kenny coming back, you know, is there some ready-made players out there that maybe have just had not a proper chance to gel, and like Nicholas Kuhn, can still be that surprise for Celtic? So I don't know. I'm interested to see how this Alexandra Burnaby saga turns out from a first ever Argentinian player to our first South American superstar that we had nothing to do with.
That would be a surprise. That would floor all of us, I think. Especially Mark, because I know Mark from day one said he was a raffle winner. So that would be interesting if Bernabei did that, but stranger things have happened. Connor, your biggest surprise of the year. Also, shout out, by the way, in the chat for people saying Celtic actually spending money. Peter Lawwell not having a heart attack. That's a good shout, actually. That 11 million on Arnie Engels, that was a surprise. So fair shout on that one, guys. But Connor, what about yourself?
Well, you've just stated it, mate. It's fucking.
Oh, there you go.
There's
The
Peter
board
Lawwell.
spending money.
There's Peter Lawwell listening to fucking purse strings. That's what I was a bit like. Whoa, what's happening here? Because obviously, you know, famously, you know, all Pistol Pete does my head in, and I go on this show like time and time again. All my old Carpool episodes, they're not there anymore, but if you'd ever tuned into them, I was in every single week. I was like, when the board going to spend? When are they going to spend? When are they going to spend? Why have we not broke a transfer record 20 years? Why is it still happening? And then all of a sudden, you know, we end up going and doing it. And to be fair, I shouldn't be surprised by it, considering the amount of money that we brought in was absolutely, you know, ridiculous. You know, we broke a transfer record twice. You know, we got the most money for a signing in Scotland for Matt O'Reilly going out, and then we spent the most money in Scotland for a player coming in on Arnie Engels. But I just think it's, you know, the fact that Celtic potentially look to be getting the marriage, you know, the three important aspects all gelling together, which Brendan, you know, used to speak about. You know, it was the fans, the club, and then, you know, the higher ups, the backroom staff, and the rest of it, all coming together and being on the same page. Now we will see in January if that still continues. I think it is, because the signs are looking pretty positive now, because Brendan's obviously stated he's had meetings and stuff like that. I think he's already scouted whoever he's going to scout in January. He's not just doing that now when January's a week away. You know, that's also about something else potentially. His contract or contracts with Castle Schmeichel and whoever like that. But I think the biggest surprise for me was kind of just seeing, you know, us not really having much to moan about in terms of, you know, summer transfer business. And, you know, looking as if we were operating like a proper club, and you know, and really backing the manager. And look what happens. We're performing well in this new format in the Champions League, potentially going to get to the latter stages. You know, if, you know, things are kind to us and we do the business like we should. Absolutely incredible in the league. We've not lost in the league yet. Do you know what I mean? And we've already got a trophy in the bag, and you know, things continue to get better and better. So I think it just goes to show you that Celtic, when, you know, if they want to, you know, get the finger out and do things properly and operate like a successful, big, massive, important football club, then it inevitably, unsurprisingly, brings you success. And I think that's just what we've all been saying it for years. When they're going to like get their act together and actually act and do things properly. They've so far done it this season, and looks like we're reaping the benefits of it. So.
No, it's for sure. It was one of the things I had as an honourable mention. There's a bit of a piss take answer. People in the chat genuinely said Celtic actually spending money. So yeah, we're that used to, you know, excuses being rolled out from transfer windows. Oh, January is a hard window to spend money in and stuff like that. So it was very refreshing to see them actually starting to behave like a big club, and hey, you get the benefits from it. As you say, we're doing a lot better in Europe now, and we've had a great domestic season so far. So yes, Celtic, every summer we should be looking to try and get a big marquee signing in. We'll do our due diligence, make sure we've scouted all the players right, and we're not taking random punts on players that get recommended by agents and whatnot. But moving on from biggest surprise, we're almost at the end now. We're on number 9 now, so this could be a feisty one. So who's been the worst player of the year, the underperformer of the year? For me, it's Lewis Palmer. Lewis Palmer in 2023, when he joined, started pretty well. His numbers, if you want to argue the numbers versus the eye test, if you want to go down that route, his numbers in the first half of the 2023-24 season were actually quite good. I think it was up into double figures or whatever for goals and assists combined. And then 2024 started, and then he had that game against Ross County just in early January where we won 1-0. Alistair Johnson scored after about a minute. It was an absolutely dreadful game of football, so much so the Celtic fans actually booed at full time, even though we won. And Lewis Palmer missed a penalty, which is customary. Celtic miss a lot of penalties, and he missed that. Then VAR said, "Oh, no, wait a minute, Mr. Palmer. A reprieve for you. You can take that penalty again because a Ross County player encroached in the box." And he stepped up and he missed again. And I just feel like that was the moment where it just all fell apart for Palmer. Because up to that point, there was something there. And ever since then, he's just not recaptured anything at all in terms of the numbers he put up in the first half of last season. So, and yeah, last week when he appeared at Tannadice, again, he's getting on the ball a lot of times, but nothing's coming at it. A player I've totally bereft of confidence, a player that just doesn't fit this system. So for me, when I'm looking at the underwhelming worst player of the calendar year, it's Lewis Palmer after a quite promising first half of the season last season. This calendar year's been a write-off, and it started in the worst possible way with a double penalty miss in the same game. So, Liam, now, I don't think you're going to say Greg Taylor. I get a funny feeling you're not going to say that here. Prove me wrong, wise man.
Mate, I wish I'd learned it in different languages. I wish I could sing it to you. It is, and definitely is, and always will be Greg Taylor.
Oh, there we go.
I've never seen... He's wee Harry Potter. He's your Jimmy Grimble. He's, I don't know what fantasy, duality, different platform we're living on right now. In a parallel universe or what it is, where Greg Taylor is the left back for Glasgow Celtic. Mm-hmm. Never seen it in my life. I can't understand the amount of luck that he has. I don't understand Brendan when he had the platitudes. I've watched a guy that's in 4 or 5 years he's been at Celtic not have a single ounce of physical evolution. He's not got bigger. He's not got stronger. He's not evolved in any way as a man. He still looks like a wee boy. And then his football acumen, unless it's a 10-yard backwards pass, or maybe the occasional one that every 3 or 4 matches that gets onto a striker's boot, he offers absolutely nothing. And now he's added a new dimension to his game, which is the pass back along the halfway line, which is now being about every team twice a game now that he does it. Yeah. Even when he managed to have a good game, and I thought he had a particularly good game yesterday, other than those 2 glaring mistakes again. I don't know. It's wee guy mentality. And as soon as I see Greg Taylor in the team sheet, it just sort of looks to me like we've not done our homework. We didn't do what we promised we were going to do, which was to field a competitive team and build a team with the resources we have, that everybody knows that we have, that can not have such a deficiency as Greg Taylor left back, where we become a target for every single team we play against. I am absolutely puzzled, but good luck to the boy, the man, whatever you want to call him. For me, he's no my cup of tea.
Good luck to him when he rocks up in Vancouver in the summer on a free transfer.
I'm going to hang out.
Going to hang out with him, mate. He'll be all right. He's a sound guy, mate. He's sound, apparently. Connor, you've already had a very spirited rant about Greg Taylor. Is Greg Taylor also your worst player of the year? You don't need to add anything else if it's the same player, but if it's somebody different, then feel free to speak.
We'll go to things together. I can see this whole thing spawning out. Just we'll have our own reality show in Vancouver. You watch.
Greg Taylor's the filler in this hate sandwich between me and Liam, isn't he? No, it's not Greg Taylor, actually, surprisingly. My biggest disappointment of the year is, I can't believe I'm saying this because I love him to bits, but it's Kyogo.
Oh, okay,
I think
what was worst player of the year?
I was worst player of the year, underwhelming player of the year, really. So I think Kyogo's still done enough, but he has been, if you want to say underwhelming, yeah, but in terms of worst player, I don't know if he's worst of the year.
No, I'm not worst then. What, like Greg Taylor? Worst? No, see, worst. Because Greg Taylor is actually, right, he's fucking shite, right? Me and Liam already know this. We've already gone enough about it. But he's arguably, got a couple of goals, so like whatever. See to me, Palmer, what the fuck? Why is he still here? The fact that I know that there was this conversation that I think Boyce had a while back. Says if you got Yang and Palmer on the bench and you have to bring one of them on to come and impact the game, who are you picking? Oh, it's Palmer. It's obviously Palmer. It's not now, considering the fact that Yang's been picked to start ahead of him. The game just there tells you everything you absolutely need to know. It comes on against Dundee United there. Another week where we draw. Passenger, there's nothing. There's nothing in the game. You know, he's I think he's the only winner I've seen at Celtic in my lifetime who he can't beat a man. Like he generally cannot take the ball and go straight and try and beat a man, try and get to the byline, try and cross it. He just always tries to cut in. And Nicholas Kuhn does that and he gets results, but he can take on a man, he can dribble past the man, he can run past somebody. Palmer can't do that. He's an absolute. I think he's Oscar Maynickers. He was hyped up to fuck coming in. He was a set piece dead ball specialist. I mean, I don't think he ever scored a free kick for us, considering the fact.
His YouTube highlights video showed he was a set piece expert with corners and free kicks, and we were terrible corners.
I know he got some assists, but he never ever scored for dead ball situations. And he cuts about the pitch dancing like fucking Ricky Martin, and I'm just like, this isn't what you're meant to be doing, mate. Like this is. Like, and I don't know, maybe he's really popular, maybe he gets on with everybody, and maybe, he's a popular character in the dressing room. But that's no, like honestly, every time he sets foot on the pitch, I feel like I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm, because, like, it frustrates me so much, because I saw the potential last season, and I saw the potential so much last season, that I predicted before this season started that he'd have the season of his life.
If you've got the pre-season member against Chelsea, he terrorised them that day.
And I don't know, what the hell's happened to him, because he came in with a lot of hype. He had good numbers. He had arguably good numbers last season as well. And I think the main problem is like he's got the potential, and he's just so far off the mark. It's unreal. He's so far off the mark, so surplus to requirement now. Like
it's a player that doesn't fit our system.
It could be dropped out of every single team throughout the rest of the season, even if we never signed another winger. And it wouldn't matter a difference. Because he contributes just as much on the pitch as he does to sitting on the fucking bench. Does nothing. Absolutely nothing for me.
There's one thing Celtic need to do when he leaves. Going to retire the number 7 shot forever.
Oh, that's cursed.
Please. Ever since Henry, number 7 has never, ever been. I mean, to be fair, it's a high benchmark, but still, just retire the number 7. Honestly, it makes me sad that Lewis Palmer's got it.
Lewis Palmer's legacy at Celtic is going to be. He's going to be one of those signed boots that sits in the club shop gathering dust for £300 sitting on the shelf at the back wall in the club superstore. That's all he's going to be. People like, oh, remember him? Oh, aye. How long's that been sitting there? That signed boot? Aye, about 7 years. I wonder why. You know what I mean? That's all his legacy at Celtic's ever going to be.
Yeah, he's been he couldn't have started the year any worse than missing 2 penalties in the same game, but yeah, it's just not gone much better for Lewis Palmer. So on to the sort of feel-good moment of the year, sort of like a wee bit of wholesome content with this one, a wee feel-good story around the club. And for me, it's a really small moment, but what a moment it was. It was Luke McCown's big cheesery, a grin on the night that he signed for Celtic. I was going to originally put James Forrest's comeback at the end of last season, which was fantastic in its own right. So honourable mention to that. But that smile from Luke McCown when he walked out of the tunnel when Sky Sports had the cameras rolling, and he just takes it all in. There's nobody else in the stadium other than a few media folk taking pictures of him, and he's just looking around it, and he's just like, wow, it's sinking in. So for me, my feel-good moment is just that. We can all relate to it. We can all just go, man, we all wish we could have that moment, and he got it. And as I said earlier on, talking about my surprise of the year, he's proved that he's not just a fan that's got lucky. He is, for me, so the feel-good moment for me, I love that little couple of seconds, just Luke McCown smiling away like, I've done it, I've made it, this is it, and a fantastic moment for me. But Liam, what about yourself? Feel-good moment of the year at Celtic?
I think the whole departure and the way that Matt O'Reilly left is just sort of oozed class. And it just showed you how well, when a player aligns with the support, the team, and everything, that you know, when you go through the Celtic journey for players that didn't grow up supporting the club, that, you know, when you have that time here, like you're actually, if you take the time to experience it, enjoy it and suck it all in and perform, not get overawed by it, but can give back and be part of that whole sort of thing, then it makes that entire journey complete. And the way it was handled by both him and the fans, knowing it was going, knowing it got a send off and see all that thing. And then just, you know, as Joe Hart does, talk about it as favourably as well, you know, when other people are talking about Celtic, be that sort of ambassador for the club, so that when you're working with other players and they're looking to further their career, that maybe money's not always the selling point. And I think another thing to people as well, where he didn't come to us for the money, he came to us for the experience and the playing time. And I think that's very underlooked in Scottish football. There has been a few very good players that have came through, that have went to the EPL and that have trialled and you know, been loaned out to Scottish teams, and I hope that gets better anyway. So Matt O'Reilly, I just liked the way it was left. I think we got good money for him, but he went with everybody's best wishes and good feeling, and that's good vibes, man.
Yeah, man. No, that's a good shout as well. Yeah, very good shout. Connor, what about you? What's your feel good moment of the year? We wholesome moment.
Mine's is got to be the send off for Joe Hart. I just think, you know, the banner, the songs, the way that he spoke about the club, and you know, he didn't do it in the kind of way where it was, you know, Jota's way or it was Matt O'Reilly's way. He spoke about it as if, like, you know, you look at it in the context as like, Joe Hart, before he came to us, his career was basically in the gutter. It was basically done. He couldn't get in the fucking Burnley team. He was struggling to get games for Burnley, and that says a lot. He was struggling at Spurs. He wasn't great at Torino when he went to Torino. And you know, you remember that Nuno Espirito Santo said to Joe Hart before he came to Celtic, we're having a discussion about his future, and he goes, your body is broken. He goes, you cannot play anymore. And like, but I say harsh shit about Greg Taylor, but fuck me, you know, Jesus Christ, you're a bit 2-footed there, son. Yeah. That's a bit much, you know, calling it to question his manhood and all sorts. But, you know, and he came to us at a very, very crucial point. And he's like, he could have easily just said, right, I'm done. I'm done. I've made my money. I'll sit and, you know, retire and lay on the beaches drinking cocktails, coconuts with wee straws and wee cocktail hats all day. But he says, no, I'm going to try and I'm going to continue to play. And he came to us and he had a good couple of years at Celtic, and he endeared himself massively with the Celtic support, because I had this image in my head of Joe Hart before he came, cocky, arrogant prick, coming from Man City, the cunt for the Head and Shoulders adverts. Comes in, absolute gentleman. An absolute gentleman for day one. Spoke so well. Was nothing, you know, wore his heart on his sleeve, you know, for lack of a better term. You know, was, you know, absolutely transparent with the support about what he wanted, how he wanted to, you know, perform, and what it meant for him that he was given the opportunity. You then fast forward it to I'm leaving at the end of last season, and you know, you could see the tears in his eyes, and he gets that banner put up for him, and you know, you just see, as a man who's won the Premier League, and he looked at that getting the send off from Celtic as if it was potentially one of the biggest moments in his life. And him retiring then, and you know, as soon as he announced that retirement, he was boom. He was locked in, as the kids say. He locked in, and he was fabulous. Until his very last minute, to the last blow of the whistle on his last game for Celtic. It was absolutely, he dug us out a fucking hole. People want to talk about James Forrest and Ademida, Joe Hart last season when we were in the shit. Dug us out multiple times. I remember saying, if it wasn't for Joe Hart, we would have lost that game and would be even further behind Rangers until we eventually turned it around.
Yeah, he upped his game. It was weird. It was like flicking a switch. Like he went from 0 to 100 when he announced his retirement. And of course, you remember his very last game for us was obviously the Scottish Cup final, and there was a crucial moment in that game where we conceded a goal, and like a dog with a bone, he would not let it go. He chased the referee all around the park, and then he took the ball and went and stood in his goal mouth like a sort of protest, like, I'm not giving you this ball back until this gets reviewed. And he was right to get it reviewed.
He
We ended up bailing us out.
And he was a guy who stands up for Celtic. He's a guy who now stands up for Scottish football as well. It's easy for somebody who's got brought up playing down England in the Premier League. It could have been like all the rest, coming up here thinking, it's an easy, couple of quid. I'll scoosh it. It'll be fucking easy. Scottish football shit. He came in, he fell in love with it, got to grips with it, and he fucking understood what it meant to people. He didn't just understand what football meant to Celtic fans and to Celtic in general. He understood it as a people, as Scots, and about what this league and how it all works in the cauldron of Glasgow and Scottish football and how mental it is, and the fact that we all love it for that, even though we criticise it. And he understood what it was like, and he took it to his heart. And to this day, like, you listen to him on the commentary, I'm so upset that we never got him in as part of the backroom team, because honestly, the experience and the dedication that he showed to Celtic, I think he could rub that off on some players coming in, even if it was just working in the goalkeeping department, would be so invaluable to what we could potentially have going forward. But he chose to go and do the commentary thing. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But you listen to him on the commentary, for the games, watching and talking about like the Champions League games and that, and he's so just a breath of fresh air listening to commentary. You just listen to him. He's so analytical. He just talks sort of sense, and he's no like a dick about it. He's no like your your Gary Nevilles and your Micah Richards and Jamie Carragher's and all these utter toss pots that just say this absolute spout shite and just get away with it because they played in England. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how it all works, and he's so complimentary about Celtic, and it doesn't have to be. You look at people who played for Celtic before and who then went on to go and do commentary and stuff, i.e. Chris Commons, who were not
that's right, Chris Commons.
Exactly, they were not so complimentary about Celtic.
Yep.
So the fact that he maintains his love for us, and the fact that he wants to continue to shine a good light on Celtic and Scottish football in general, I think it cements him as a modern day Celtic legend for me.
The thing is, he's got those reference points, obviously playing for us literally last season, still the same manager, most of the same players. So when he is doing commentary on these Champions League games, he's got so many things that he can just instantly refer to and give you that insight. So it has been refreshing because it's a different perspective, so it's always good to hear. And yeah, I love the fact that he is bought into the club. But like Chris Sutton, over the years, Chris Sutton came up here, big player from the Premier League, and now he can't stop talking up Celtic and Scottish football. So that's what happens when they come up here. They get the bug, essentially. I'm glad that you brought it up, though, because my next category, the second last one, was the fan moment of the year, and it was the Joe Hart banner against St Mirren on Trophy Day, because that was phenomenal. Obviously, Joe Hart, no idea it was going to happen. I saw him talk about it on a podcast during the summer, just saying, they came out for the second half, the game's already kicked off, and he looks to his right-hand side, the Green Brigade's got that banner, and it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, with the flare positioned perfectly, so it looked like the smoke coming up from, it was just so well done. So the fan moment of the year for me is that banner, which has been mentioned already a couple of times tonight. But Liam, what about you? Fan moment of the year, would you go with the same one, or have you got one off the top of your head that comes to mind, like a fan moment, a chant, whatever? But yeah, that one stands out for me.
I like to follow up to the Make Rangers Great Again, which is Make Rangers Great Again, which I thought
good one.
But you know what? My fan moment was for all the people that got to see Celtic in North America this summer. Well, this is a massive thing. So you get your friends, your family together, you have parking lot parties, you're meeting bars and patios and all that, and and have a great time. And then usually on your end is some sort of severe humping off an MLS team or something, and you're just seeing a team that's unrecognisable to Celtic you want to see, but your pride still takes a beating as well, because it's in the papers and it's a pals and people see you having a Celtic identity, and then see you getting beat after a local club side and all that. Yeah, it sort of damages the brand, and your attachment to the brand. So seeing Celtic come over and then take a couple of big scalps, that was good. That was unusual. And so to watch them with Man City and Chelsea, that was my fan moment, because a lot of the people were Scots and Irish and English and that from all over the world, introducing their family, generations of their family and all that to Celtic, and to see them come and beat box office size like Man City and Chelsea, that must have been a great feeling for a wee guy with his first Celtic kit, or seeing the game with his granddad or his uncle for the first time. And so I'm really hoping, as far as fans goes, those games that are here, that brought us a whole new generation of Celtic supporters. And Adidas shop here in Vancouver is now selling all the hoops and stuff in it. And so right on the corner, and you used to have to go to specialty shops for that stuff. And so we're back, baby.
We are back. Some good shouts already. The You'll Never Walk Alone after the cup final. I forgot about that, where they were all stood on the halfway line just as the fans were all singing. That was a phenomenal. The picture of that, I think it was like drone footage from high up above Hampden. The way that's captured was fantastic. And also the Slabbering Cabbage, which is an amazing screen name, by the way, got to say. He ain't slabbering though with this one. The Tifo banner, the wee boy reading the Legends book. I think that was before the Leipzig game. It was one of the Champions League games anyway. It gave me goosebumps. That was a good one. That was one of the best tifos. That was really, really good. But Connor, any stand out to you? Like a good fan moment, Green Brigade moment, tifo, chant, whatever you want to go with?
I'm going to go for one that's a wee bit outside the box. It's not anything that's really happened like on the pitch or in the stands, really. It's, it's just after Christmas, it's the time for forgiveness and the time for joy and the time for love. And I feel like the fact that we've managed to bring everybody back on side to forgiving Brendan Rodgers and the fact that, the way that he left. And obviously, we're a notoriously fickle but, angry bunch when we're scorned. If somebody does something against us, whether they put out a negative article or they're sitting on the radio or, they dismiss us or whatever, or they say something bad about Celtic, we as a fan base collectively, we jump onto it and we're like we're like an XL bully with a toddler. Like, we're not going to let go. We're going to continue to, latch onto that, and we're not going to let go for fucking love nor money. And the fact that we all have come together, and there was a lot of people not having Rodgers coming back. A lot of people weren't happy about it. The Green Brigade, for one, weren't happy. The most vocal supporters group were very against it. And the fact that fast forward the year, we've all came together and we've all said, right, we can look back now, we can forgive Brendan for what he'd done, and the fact he's came back, he's made amends massively, and got back in the good graces. So for me, I'd say that's my fan moment. Just us showing, as a collective that we can forgive and we can move on, and and we can all come together, as like the Celtic family, if you want to put it that way, and move forward and go things about in a healthy way, and then make things a bit better.
Yeah, no, that's official. I'm glad as well, because I was always championing Brendan Rodgers even before he came back. If I was doing Bustalgia episodes, if we were talking about Brendan Rodgers era, Brendan Rodgers season, I was always talking about how much I loved that era. There was some fans who would be in the chat right away going, "Nah, he's a fucking rat" and all that, and I'm just like, look, put that aside. Just think of how good like that Invincible treble season was. The way he left, obviously, it is what it is, but he's came back and he's made amends for me, so I'm delighted that it's working out for him. And don't be thinking about doing it again, Brendan, please. Just if you're going to leave, at least see out the contract, please, because we can't have that again. But no, that's a fair shout, and it is good to see that a lot of fans are starting. There is still some out there who just will always be scorned, but it's their choice, whatever. But Final point. And yes, we've actually made it to point number 12. We've actually done it. It was a long one. Hey, but a 2-hour show or an hour and a half show on a Friday night. Just like the old days, Liam. Yeah, we're going back. And
it used to be a 3-hour show, did it not? At one point.
Yeah, we had a 3-hour show a few times there. So the final one, we're talking about Brendan Rodgers there. And we know imagine a bit of a cheeky chappy, isn't he? He's got a wee good quip in him. So what's your Brendan moment of the year? My one is, I think this has been a catalyst for change. I think if you look at the chain of events that followed this, I think you actually look at and we're seeing the effects now. Not necessarily that I'm buying into the conspiracies, but I think it's quite good to get a bit of transparency now. And it is when Brendan Rodgers did something that we're not used to, where he's usually quite cordial and very calm on the camera. But after we lost at Tynecastle, he came out and he said some things about, the officials that day. And I think he was right to question them. There was obviously some things that happened to us that day. Yang getting sent off for a bit of a dubious high boot, deemed a red card, even though we've seen other players for certain other teams doing high boots of that as well, and they get away with it. And of course, the infamous penalty, where it does clearly state in the IFAB rules, and this was doing the rounds after it, if the ball hits your arm and it came from a teammate, has headed it or kicked it against your arm, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty violation if it happens in the box. Alistair Johnstone headed that ball off of Tomoki Iwata's arm, and also Alistair Johnstone got pushed in the back when he went up for the header. Him and a Hearts player went up together. It's knocked him off balance. He's headed it, and it's hit Iwata's outstretched arm. And it's like, so in the IFAB rules, that it's not a penalty. But John Beaton get called to the screen. Don Robertson was the VAR referee. And between the two of them, they couldn't recite this rule, and they decided that's a penalty. I mean, it's bad enough that Don Robertson says, you need to come and have a look at this. It's a penalty. You'd think maybe if John Beaton had known that rule, he would have said, no, actually, I think it's no. Between the two of them, they didn't. After the game, Brendan Rodgers obviously said his piece. There was also a bit of fallout from it. And amongst all that, we also got the resignation of one Crawford Allen. I believe the story is as well that Celtic had asked for the audio from that recording to hear it, and conveniently the audio was nowhere to be seen, suddenly disappeared. I say Crawford Allen resigns. We get Willie Coleman as the head of the referees, and it's what a difference it has been. We, I've had this VAR show. You can laugh at it if you want, but I quite like that we're getting a bit of transparency. Obviously, Willie has came on and has explained stuff at the end of every month, and there's been a few times we've featured where he came in and said that Celtic, should have had a penalty here. Daisa Maeda, slapping the ball into the net against Motherwell because he got fouled in the build-up to it. End of the day, all we can do is just say, well, at least they're coming out and admitting it. It's frustrating. There isn't anything we can do about it. I wish some other teams would take the hint that there's nothing you can do about it. But at least it's coming to say, and we weren't getting any of that before. So I say fair play in that, but it all comes from Brendan Rodgers starting that chain of events where he went for those officials after that game. Obviously, he copped a one-match ban for it. Worth it in the end. Say the head of the referees conveniently resigns and the fallout from it. Willie Collum comes in. I think it's having a change. We're making steps in the right direction. We're nowhere near perfect with the officiating in Scotland. Nowhere near it. VAR is definitely nowhere near perfect. But hey, we're making strides. So for me, my Brendan moment of the year is that moment, that catalyst, Liam, that started that chain of events. But yourself, Liam?
Yeah, so I don't have a particular moment, but you just go through to Brendan. And what I like about Brendan this year is the way he's calculated. He's like a viper. Precision beats power, timing beats speed, and Brendan is very, very precision oriented of when and what comments he lets loose and why. We're watching, them across the street explode right now because their manager doesn't know when to stop talking.
Like the previous manager as well. Aye.
Exactly, and it seems to be an ongoing thing, other than Gio, and they couldn't get him out the door fast enough. He was trying to do it on the park. But, he seems very precision this year and calculated when he does speak. And I think that you're seeing that Rodgers is now taking a dignified approach. He's polished up the brown brogues. He's got the suit on. He's taking the SFA on his terms when he wants to do it. And right now, his silence is driving them crazy. And so the fact that he's not out there moaning and doing all that, it just gives him more of a space to talk shite. And the more they talk, the worse it's going to get for them. So I am I'm impressed with Brendan's manner as far as how he dictates to the press this year. It's pure Gucci belt stuff.
Indeed. And Connor, your Brendan moment of the year.
Mine's just the fact that, talking about Gucci belt, he just walks about the sidelines with a bit of belt buckle with a giant letter B on it, just like I'm Brendan. Just like, the fucking
guy.
Gucci belt is the Brendan belt. But no, my actual favourite Brendan Rodgers moment of the season is I don't know if you remember, it was the footage came out after the one last season, but it was when things are really, really tough.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, I think it was like 5-6 games left of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he's doing the team talk, and obviously they record all this shit previously. They would scrap it, obviously, if they never won the league, but they keep it in advance. They keep it, something to fall back on and make a DVD and sell for a tenner. If we end up, winning the league. But we're under a lot of scrutiny. It looks like Rangers potentially going to win the league, and the narrative was written, the story was written. Mm-hmm. Rangers are going to win the league. Da, 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 da. Rangers are amazing. Celtic are shit. Blah blah blah. Rodgers has them on the changing room. Mm-hmm. He's talking. Now, you see he's doing it for the cameras. You can see his name. It doesn't matter. He gets him, he's talking, and he goes, this is the point now. We're going from now to then. We need to be amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to make this was his words verbatim. We need to make this place hell for the opposition. And he goes, paradise is for us. Mm-hmm. We make this place hell for the opposition. And see that, the quote gave me goosebumps. I'm like, oh my, that is some, Nostradamus shit. That is fantastic, and it just shows you the mentality. He loves that word today, doesn't he? The mentality. The character mentality. He loves that. What he's wanting to instill and what he has instilled, and the fact that he got there in the end through tooth and nail and clawing for it, but we still got there, and the strength of that man, because he was under a lot of scrutiny, for the media and that, and and just like, and them across the city, the noisy neighbours were lapping it up because they were like, oh, he's up against a great manager now, he's gonna fumble.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a weaker man and you let the outside noise come in, it can affect you. It can affect you mentally. It can affect you physically as well. It can affect your health. Can do all sorts. It can affect your confidence. And he never let it get to him once. He never backed down. He constantly showed up, knew what he was doing, and believed in himself and his ideas and his principles. Mm-hmm. And then he got us over the line. Aye. And that is probably my favourite Brendan Rodgers moment.
No, that's a good show. The guy's he's got a whole quote book worth of quotes essentially. I think this was at the tail end of last year, but I did enjoy the one where he said, in 2 spells that I've been here, I've came up against 5 different Rangers managers, and every time we go to play them, it's always they're coming, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I love that. Again, just putting them back in their place and reminding them. And hey, manager number 6 might be just around the corner. Who knows? We'll wait and see on that one. But that is it took a bit longer than expected. But as I said, an hour and a half show, an hour and 40-minute show on a Friday night is nothing out of the ordinary. We were going to talk about the St Johnstone game, so I'll just quickly get the prediction for the goal. But before we do that, I did forget to do something that starts. We'll do this really quickly. I've been doing this teaser every single week now of the mystery player. So who is the mystery? Well, let's get that in before we go. I usually do it at the start of the show and come back to the answer at the end. So today's hidden player is this, going by their career, remember? So, who could it be? They played for Dundee, Hearts, then Celtic, Stoke City, Grasshopper Zurich, that's a curious one, and Kilmarnock. So, Liam, every week, obviously, I'll come to you on this one. Do you have any idea who it is behind the Boise Bus logo?
Dundee, Hearts. Tosh McKinley.
It is Tosh McKinley, yes. There's a left back, very topical on a Friday. We like to talk about left backs on a Friday night, but my God, it was Tosh McKinley. Grasshopper Zurich. That is a really out there one. But what a left foot he had. The cross in the cup final when Pierre Van Hooijdonk scored. Oh my word. What a cross from deep. I wish Greg Taylor could cross like that. I wish any of our left backs could cross like that, to be fair. There's also another one for Van Hooijdonk as well. We drew 3 each at Ibrox. And he puts in this fantastic, right? We just gone 3-2 down at the time, and we literally go up the park and score like a minute later. And he puts in this brilliant cross. Van Hooijdonk gets a glancing header to it, and it goes in at the back post. What a left foot he had. Underrated player, I would say. Obviously, he played for us at a time when trophies were hard to come by, to say the least, in the mid-90s. And we were up against some dodgy means of what was going on over at Ibrox, but I'd say an underrated player, Tosh McKinley. But yeah, great left back.
Phil, always remember, he's never ever going to let us down. He stuck the head on the greatest ever Celtic player of all time.
He did do that, yes, he did. Training ground bust up, yeah.
And so that was always, it's like, how dare you go to your thing? You know, so there's always a bit of that about him, you know. And,
I remember that, aye. So a few people are saying that and bringing it up in the chat. Aye. But no, I say a wonderful left foot, and I say if you want to see an absolutely perfect cross from a left back, look at the '95 Cup final goal from Van Hooijdonk. Tosh McKinley, what an absolute! Could put a what did he say? Could open a tin of beans with that left foot. So yeah, fantastic. But he is a mystery player. I forgot that at the start of the show because it was an action-packed one night. So before we go, we were going to talk about the St Johnstone game. I would fully expect it to be strongest team possible ahead of going to Ibrox. We want to make sure we get the points on the board. So I think we'll deal with St Johnstone pretty comfortably on Sunday. I don't think we'll have too many issues. And I'll go for a 3-0 victory. Might be a bit similar to the Motherwell game. Might be a bit of a plodding start because we're up against a 10-man defence. But eventually we'll find a goal, and I think we'll go on and win it pretty comfortably. And sets us up nicely for a trip to Ibrox on the 2nd of January. Liam, what are you going for your scoreline for this one?
5. Lucky number.
5.
Aye, so...
It's going to come in eventually, mate. It's going to come.
No, it's came a few times, Phil.
Ross County was the 5-0 one, the most recent one.
I've been quite bang on with some of the scores lately, and I think it is that when Celtic play to the potential, we create so many chances that when we do play well, it's never just a 1-0 or 2-0. 1-0 or 2-0, I think, is when we don't play well. But when we play our type style of football, that means creating chances, and when we play well, that means converting into goals. So, 5-0.
5-0. And Connor, a resounding victory for you on Sunday?
Aye, mate. 6-0. Greg Taylor to score all 6. No, but I'm going to go 6-0. I'm going to say Arne Engels to score a penalty. Kyogo to finally get back in the score sheet. And, you know, just a pick and mix of whoever else you want to put in the score sheet then. Because, let's be honest, we can kind of score from everywhere on the pitch, to be totally honest. I mean, even our, you know, much maligned left back got a goal recently. So, let's be honest, we can score from anywhere on the pitch. We don't rely on a single, goal revenue to come from somewhere. So, but yep, 6-0 for me.
6-0, good stuff. And thank you to the Slavering Cabbage, again, best screen name, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you very much. And before we go, a nice wholesome comment to end on from Graham Tyrrell, regular viewer. He says, I'd like to say a massive thanks to all the contributors on the bus, especially the Friday Feeling team. Oh, cheers, mate. 7 a.m. Saturday morning, yes, because he's in Australia. So it starts his weekend off great every time. Cheers to the bus. Thank you very much, Graham. Always good to have you aboard. And thank you for the 90 so viewers that we've had pretty consistently all night. It's been a long one tonight. I expected that, though, because it was going to be a bit of a different episode looking back on the calendar. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the game on Sunday. The next time I'll be on, I said last week, the next time I'll be on would be till the next Friday. Then I had to step in and cover for Russell because he decided to go on holiday for 5 days over Christmas. So I might be on next Tuesday with David and Regan. Who knows? But whatever you do, if I'm not on until next Friday, then enjoy your new year. Let's enjoy the game on Sunday. Hopefully a nice Celtic victory. And good luck to one Frank Connor, the linesman, who'll be running the line on Sunday. That's been very topical as well. Hope he has a great game. And as Connor said, we're going to get a penalty. I hope he is responsible for awarding that penalty as well. And I hope it just sends him further into meltdown. So yeah, we're heading off now. Thanks everybody for watching. Say enjoy the rest of your night and the weekend, whatever you get up to. And yeah, Mon Celtic on Sunday. Catch you later, folks. See yous.
Bye.